Hi guys, welcome again to a current event quiz recap. This is geared towards quiz number 2 from the fall 2017 semester. So we're going to be talking about a couple different cartoons revolving around our Gov and Econ classes. So let's throw them up here and let's talk a little bit about what you guys were seeing on this particular quiz. The first cartoon that we wanted to throw at you guys, this was something that both our first block and second block Gov students probably saw. So let me grab my pen application here and we'll talk a little bit about this story. The big emphasis here that we were looking for was a discussion of the GOP's new plan to try to repeal and replace Obamacare. And obviously a big part of that has to do with the name of the pinball machine up here, repeal and replace. Obviously you can talk about the symbolism of the elephant here. I know I'm kind of covering it with my little cutout here, but you know, kind of what that represents as far as the Republican Party. And for most of you guys, you kind of were able to focus in on that. Another piece that was kind of often brought up in discussions was Uncle Sam kind of representing the country or the American people and talking about through this speech bubble, just kind of, oh no, here we go again. This long drawn out debate over healthcare once again. This is like our third time in the last few months that we've had to deal with this. The one item, though, that I was a little disappointed seeing is not many people noticed the labeling going on here inside the pinball machine, which is discussions over things that this new Republican plan, known as the Cassidy-Graham bill, might bring about to the American people who currently enjoy coverage through the Affordable Care Act. So you've got loss of coverage, you've got paying more money through a rate hike, and kind of the addition of a pre-existing condition. One of the things that the new bill talks about is there is no protection if you have a pre-existing condition from getting your rates denied or possibly your rates hiked because of that. So there's a lot of different things here that you can talk about and bring up, and definitely we wanted to see you guys try to cite as many of those pieces of evidence as possible. Moving over to our Honors World History guys. We gave you guys 2 cartoons this week. First cartoon was geared towards a discussion of Russia's recent war games and sort of what that means for NATO and some of the Baltic states. So that kind of was where we were going with a look at kind of why the map is structured the way it is. And here are the Baltic states, Latvia, guys in that category who have been very nervous about this kind of buildup of Russian military. Obviously, you could talk about the former Soviet star being here, kind of an homage to Russian history. You could also talk about the Russian bear. You could also go in a direction, again, going back to the star, about talking about how Putin wants to try to reinvent or recreate the Soviet Empire. But again, that's mostly projection right now. And while we don't expect a whole lot of you guys to understand Russian, what is pretty clear is the body language of this bear, kind of flexing their muscles, flexing their power, and kind of showing off a little bit for the camera. And, the focus, of course, being there that we're not flexing actual muscles, we're flexing our military muscles from the point of view of Russia. The other cartoon we gave you guys is also kind of topical for the time right now. This is a discussion over the president's recent discussion of North Korea at the UN. So obviously you have Kim Jong-un and you have President Trump. And obviously some of you guys will remember that President Trump referred to Kim Jong-un as the Rocket Man. And obviously that's laid out. Rocket here, North Korean flag over here. And a lot of you guys did a pretty good job of also discussing how by putting out this rhetoric, by mocking the North Korean leader to a certain extent with the nickname of Rocket Man and calling him Little Rocket Man, stuff like that, you're kind of tap dancing with disaster here a little bit. The U.S. has a pretty strong nuclear arsenal. We could easily launch a counterattack at any time, but obviously there's some diplomatic fronts to go along here. What was a little disappointing, and I think only one person actually got it, was furthering the joke. Rocket Man, of course, being a song by Elton John. Here we have another Elton John classic, Tiny Dancer, which is referring to the president and his actions, kind of tap dancing with disaster. So hopefully that clears up some of the comments that were on your quizzes this week. If you have any questions, contact me directly. We'll set up a time to go through it one-on-one, and we look forward to seeing what you guys come up with for our next current event quiz.